What a wonderful afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the first PSQ Quality Leaders Bootcamp. And today is very special to all of us, especially us in PSQ, because this is the 52nd birthday of PSQ. So it was in May 17th, exactly 1969, when PSQ was established. Today is a very special day as well because this is the first day of the first PSQ Quality Leaders Bootcamp. We're going to interview one of the quality leaders, one of the members of PSQ, and I know that we'll be learning a lot later on. Doc Naro is also one of the hosts for this specific event, but he's been experiencing an internet connectivity for the past couple of hours. So let me proceed with our event for today. So let me start with this specific quote from a Chinese proverb that in every crisis there is an opportunity. I know that we've been experiencing this pandemic since last year, and I believe we just need to keep going. There's just a lot of things that are happening around us, but we just need to look at it as opportunities. And I believe that's where we can look for meaningful solutions and other creative solutions. I mean, especially us from quality perspective, we're always challenging. We're always challenging what are we seeing we're always challenging the status quo. We're always challenging what it is that we have currently, even we are on a crisis situation. So let's make out of this crisis situation, and maybe there's just a lot of things that we can think out of this. So let me, before I introduce with you our speaker for today, let me greet some of our audience from our Facebook page as well as from our YouTube channel. So we have from here, there's just a lot, but I need to do a shout out from to some of you. I have here we have Rose Magno. Rose Magno, good afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in. We also have Alanet Gutierrez Aranzazo. In our Facebook group, we also have Marley. Good afternoon, Marley. And I can see in here. Hi, Doc Aki Matias. Good afternoon. And we can also call out, maybe do a shout out with Genevieve Kadawas. Okay, good afternoon to all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce with you our speaker for today, but let me play this specific video first. All right, our speaker for today is Dr. Jayvie Guballo. Dr. Jayvie Guballo is a public servant, university instructor, resource speaker, trainer, business consultant, seasoned human resource consultant professional. He studied Bachelor of Science in Office Administration, major in Office Management from Rizal Technological University, and also served as a Vice President for Internal Affairs of the Philippine Association of Student in Office Administration. He took his postgraduate studies at the Polytechnic University of the Philippines in 2017. So that's MBA, specializing in human resources management. He holds a doctorate degree in business administration from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. He also authored several studies related to employee-employer interventions, hiring and selection challenges and issues, the migration of businesses towards utilization of technology for e-recruitment, and the observance of the theory of good governance as an interposition plan for cooperatives, profitability, and sustainability. All studies were presented in research conferences local and abroad. He is a member of APCORE or APCOR Asia Pacific Consortium of Researchers and Educators, Philippine Society for Quality, and Ascendance Asia Young Researchers Club. Currently, he is the unit head of customer relations and services under the Quality Management System Center of Rizal Technological University. Prior to entering the academy, he used to be a recruitment officer and manager in different industries like hospitality management, engineering, oil and gas, general business, automotive, and transportation. So please now welcome our first speaker for the day one of the first PSQ Quality Leaders Bootcamp, Doc Jayvie. Hi, good afternoon, Doc Jayvie.
Hello, Doc Ray. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. I'm so thrilled.
That's amazing. And Doc Jayvie, oh, what makes your life busier during this time of pandemic or since last year? What makes your life busy?
First thing foremost, I get into what do you call this? Participating in different webinars. I'm also very busy in crafting what do you call this? Modules for my students because aside from my admin work, I'm also teaching, specializing business administration, and also as a certified plantito, no? As you can see on my Facebook page, no, Doc Ray, no, we both no love planting, no, particularly yung mga tinatawag natin mga ornamental plants, no? So, yun yung mga pinagkaabalahan natin, Doc Ray, for the past year of the pandemic. And I'm still looking forward for more activities pa to what they call this still keep busy and to gain more knowledge at the same time.
That's great. That's great, Doc JB, that you mentioned that you were so busy attending to webinars or maybe facilitating webinars. And I can also, I
Mm-mm.
could also see some of your posts regarding that, and even you the one that you mentioned regarding the hashtag Plantito, right? For all of our viewers from around the globe, when we say Plantito, so these are the people who love planting. So this just that's one of the I believe one of the activities that that became known to all of us. I mean, since last year, because there's just like limited activities that we can do in the spaces of our homes. All right,
Mm-mm.
so Doc JV, you are working at the RTU or the Rizal Technological University at this point, right? Maybe you can share with us what RTU is all about and what are the services and or maybe products that you are offering.
Actually, Rizal Technological University is an academic institution, or we can what do you call this? Categorize as state university and college. No, as a government university, we are offering what we call this different courses. We are into technological. The main phase of our university is more on technology and more on technological aspects, no, and also business as well, no. And in our unit, no, customer satisfaction unit, no, we are engaged in measuring the satisfaction. Aside for measuring the satisfaction, of course, to maintain the what we call this the satisfaction as much as possible, the excellent experience of our customers. Another also to maintain the retention and also to improve the service encounter or the counter stage of our stakeholders, no, particularly our students, our alumni, and many more. And also, we also include no the LGU what do you call this personnels, no, who are oftenly visited or visit our university for projects and something like that, no. And we also include our what do you call this suppliers, no, as 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 part of what do you call this our customers in our institution.
That's great. It looks like that the university has been so busy, especially in your division or in your unit, Doc JV, that you are overseeing the client satisfaction or the customer satisfaction side of the business. That I know it's something that's challenging, especially during the pandemic. I just have a I'm curious about that. How does the university adapt during this pandemic? Like, I mean, how did it transition from you doing the physical or the classroom facilitation to now maybe doing it online? Are you 100% online already?
Actually, Doc Ray, our university are into what they call this, the model system,
Mm.
the Moodle educational platform or online educational platform. We also have Google Meet, no. But for my unit, for the customer satisfaction unit, no, during the normal times, no, before the pandemic, no, in order for us to measure the what they call this, the satisfaction of our employees or stakeholders or even our outside clients. No, we have this kind of client satisfaction survey questionnaire wherein right after getting something from the university like service or the like, or after gaining a service particularly, no, they have to answer that kind of they have to answer the client satisfaction survey, and then they just have to write down what is their perception or what is their experience and something like that. And we have this kind of quarterly report wherein I'm consolidating all the papers. Imagine that, Doc Ray, no? There's a lot of office in our university, no? But during this time of pandemic, it's a bit challenging because our government is as much as possible discouraging the physical what do you call this,
Contact,
contact, no,
interaction. Mm.
interaction with our customers, no. Actually we have some limited numbers, no, but not necessary all, no, the offices, no. um I crafted a customer satisfaction survey which is via online and also via QR code, wherein there's no need for you to to what do you call this, to get a piece of paper and then a pen, then write down your what do you call this, your perception about the service or something like that. You just have to get your phone and open your data and scan the QR code, and that's it. You can actually what do you call this, navigate and calibrate the client satisfaction survey, and it's very easy for me to consolidate a report,
Mm.
no, wherein it's just one click. Unlike before, I have to encode it. What do you call this?
Manually
One paper manually or piece of
and one by
paper,
one.
no, one by one, no. Imagine that, Doc Ray. That's my dilemma every time we prepare the quarterly report for the client satisfaction survey. Actually, that's one of the innovation that we embrace, no, during this time of the new normal, so called.
That's great. That's great. Doc JV. I'm just also curious regarding what was the how different was the customer satisfaction score before the pandemic as compared to last year when the pandemic started and now. Did it change or was there a significant difference? Wow. Are,
Significant significant difference.
that's the
Actually,
question. That's the
actually to
question.
actually to be honest, Doc Ray, for the adjustable what do you call this, the adjustable outcome of the what do you call this, the survey, I think I'm not in the what do you call this, in the place to discuss it in public, no. But uh during I'm still on the pace of doing the report for this pandemic quarter, no. And actually there's no significant changes. The changes
Mm,
there is the number of the participants who
mm,
participates in the online client satisfaction survey. Before we have this kind of bulk of papers, but now it's very limited, maybe because of the the restrictions of the government, no, to or the implementation of the government regarding the ruling of the lockdown. We can consider also that. Another also, Doc Ray, I know we have some clients who are actually inquiring online. We also posted the client satisfaction survey even in our website, so that right after getting the service or after getting the inquiry and something like that, they can actually navigate it to our what we call this website. It's very easy to navigate and calibrate. No, we have the QR code, we have the link, it's something like that.
Thank you for that, Doc JV. It's great to know that there's no like significant difference between this course before as compared to when the pandemic started. That's great. I know that
Mm-mm,
you can share all of the details about it, but I just want to know how different. I mean, is the how different is the situation during the pandemic as compared to
mm-mm,
before. It's great to know that there's no significant difference between the scores. And how about this one, Doc JV? In I know that you are working in the specific unit, right? Are you working from home or in the office? And how was it? How was the experience if you're working from home? How do you ensure that you get updated with what's happening in the organization, despite that
actually,
there's just a lot of things that are happening?
actually, Doc Ray, the mode or the working mode that I'm in is skeleton mode, wherein it's like there's some dedicated days for, I have to go to my office, and there are some times that I have to be at my home as doing my work, no, for as part of the skeletal workforce, no. Particularly the working from home. To tell you honestly, it's actually there's no change, no? Kasi it's like I have this kind of mentality even I'm home. Once I sit down with my table, it's like my mentality is like I'm working pa rin in the office, no? That's why I'm still focused pa rin, no? So nothing has changed, no? Maybe I think that the mindset that I have, no? And also in terms of communication with my coworkers in the organization, our avenue is aside for email, we have this kind of messenger wherein to share the up to date, or let's say, for example, there's an instruction for you to to check or to calibrate, no. Still we have this kind of ongoing communication even we are we're working from home. And in terms working at home also, Doc, um the we have also to consider then even the ambience then of working from home, no. Are you comfortable with the place? Parang sometimes you have to shut down your door to stay focused, lalo na kapag you have to create or you have to craft a report, di ba, that is very you have to be skeptical in terms of crafting that, no. So my mindset from office to home is just the same.
That's great. That's great. And it takes a lot of discipline, especially from working.
Mm-mm.
From working from home. That's great, and I believe there's a lot of people who are struggling working from home. That's why they're actually requesting. For them to work in the office again. However, there's just a lot of
Mm,
restrictions, and it's pretty safe,
mm,
definitely, right? To just stay at home and then do all the work from there. But once you start working, you have to be focused. I believe that's what you were trying to say, Doc JV. Create that ambience wherein you can really create that focus that you need for you to fulfill any
mm.
of the activities or any of the tasks that you have for the day. But let me, I believe Doc Narrow is now online, but let's try Doc JV if he can connect with us. So
Mm.
let's see. Just one moment. Hi, Doc Narrow.
Hello, Doc JV. Hello, Doc Ray.
Hello, Doc
There's just a lag.
Naro.
I believe this is one of the
Yes, nice to
challenges, right,
meet
Doc
you,
JV,
Doc
from
JV.
working from home. All right, so it looks like let me remove. In the meantime, Doc Narrow, while we still
Good
try to
afternoon,
fix.
everyone.
Yeah. So there's just a lag, I mean, in terms of the connection of Toknara, but we can proceed.
Mm-mm.
So you mentioned earlier, right, Doc JV, and I also introduced you that your specific unit where you're working is on customer satisfaction. Can you tell us something more about what do you exactly do in that role in that organization, and how does your role impact the overall attainment of the corporate goals of RTU?
Actually, my unit is in charge for, of course, monitoring the what they call this, the rate of how satisfied our customers or our clients or our stakeholders rather. Of course, I have to craft some game plans or let's say new policies to strictly implement, no, and to measure also the satisfaction and the retention of our clients and our stakeholders. And uh, in crafting the what they call this the report, no, actually there's a huge impact, no, to towards the what they call this the report that I am actually in charge for consolidating how satisfied our employees. No, wherein we have this kind of I think that is every mid-year or let's say August, wherein all the government offices, no, are obliged to submit, no, the report or the consolidated report, how satisfied the customers or how was the service that we are actually offering. And actually, that's a mandate which given to us by the governing body, and we are very keen and we are very particular with crafting that report because as much as possible, the report it should be detail based. All the details must be clear, concise, no, and it's very important for us, our institution, no, to check the yearly result or the quarterly result so that this would be or we can consider this as our reference, no, in improving our services, how we can actually continue the retention of our tawag dito customers. And and also Doc Ray, I want to share with you, no, this kind of article from Harvard Business Review na around 70% or 80% of customers, no, who oftenly posted dissatisfaction, especially right after getting the product or getting the service, no, they posted their dissatisfaction in different social media accounts, no. That's why right after reading that what they call this article, no, I'm on the stage of I'm crafting something new again to somehow we can mitigate this kind of stigma or we can mitigate this kind of damaging because Doc Ray, in the quality assurance as much as possible we have to maintain the good image of the organization, no? And I'm on the stage right now of crafting another policy or somehow another game plan or another project to work on.
It sounds so exciting, Doc JB. But how was it? Working on a quality role for quite some time? Um, does does the role make you overwhelmed every now and then, or does it make you excited when you started working in that specific unit, or how was it?
Actually, Doc Ray, to tell you honestly, I was totally shocked about what's the what's the world of quality, no? Because before I was into human resources for the longest time, no. I'm into human resources. I'm more on people management, something like that. But since 2019, I was given an opportunity to work with a quality role, no. For my first time, no, working with a quality role, I was totally what they call this shocked because you have to be particular with many considerations, no. Um, just like the risk assessment tool, something like that. Um, Customer satisfaction is also part of the quality management, something like that. So it's a bit different, no? It's a bit different from human resources, but still I'm into people. I'm still to people pa rin because from human resources now for customer satisfaction, still for people pa rin. But today, the difference is what is my game plan or what is my alternative what do you call this option, no, to convince, no, before kasi I convince what do you call this applicants to work with us. Now naman it's my time to convince them, or it's time to check with them, no, how they are convinced with the services I provided, no, which is very different, no. Sabi ko, oh, something like that, pero I have this kind of mindset naman everyday, doc, na everyday is still a learning process. We should be open for any possibilities and something like that, and we should be open for more learnings, no, because it helped us, no, particularly in our professional competence.
That's great. It never stopped. It never stopped in terms of learning, Doc JV. And I
Mm-mm.
can imagine, right, the transition from being an HR practitioner to being a quality practitioner, because when you are in a quality role, you are looking at the organization from all perspectives, from all of the facets of
Yes,
the organization. And I know your unit is more on the customer satisfaction, but if you look at the
the scope.
quality, yeah, the scope of it, it's really from organization wide perspective. And I can see right here one of the comments from our audience, Doc JV, Marley, from Marley. She mentioned, totoo yan, shock talaga sa quality management but fulfilling. So for all of our foreign um, or our international audience, so Marley mentioned that it's true what Doc JV mentioned, that um, it can be challenging in terms of the role in quality management, but it's really fulfilling because, as you mentioned, Doc JV, that every day it brings a lot of learning. No matter what, I mean, no matter what projects do you have, every day it's usually a learning process.
Yes, Doc Ray. And
All right.
just to add also, Doc Ray, no, my work is not only limited for customer satisfaction, but as a whole also, no, the
Mm.
quality management system, preparation for the recertification for the quality management certificate, for the what they call this, for the
ISO accreditation.
yes, accreditation, and also the surveillance visit, no,
Mm.
I'm also contributing to that, no. And since we are also ISO certified, no, we have this kind of yearly surveillance, and the customer satisfaction survey is very, what do you call this, oftenly, no, presented to the accreditation, no. That's why I have to prepare from time to time the report, so that the auditor could see, no, how we deliver the service, what our measurables, how we measure that, what's our contingency plan, what's our game plan in order to resolve those issues raised by the client, something like that.
Thank you for that, Doc JV. And HBOM79 mentioned that I'm transitioning from quality to HR. So it's the reverse that's going to happen to HPOM 79, and it's a good thing, right? Because there's a lot of learning that you can get, or there's a lot of values that you can get from being on a quality role, and then you just need to get all of those learnings the to being an HR practitioner. And I know one of
Yes,
the things that's very strong from quality perspective is being quantitative in nature. So we are data
yes,
driven, and that's
exactly.
something that you can bring to the HR organization when you transition from the quality to HR.
To HR.
All right. So you mentioned earlier, Doc JB, that the role is really it's challenging, but it's really fulfilling. What has been, this is my another question of Doc J, what has been your greatest accomplishment in terms of quality implementation? Any successful projects you've done in your professional life, maybe from HR, when you were an HR practitioner, or when you started being a quality practitioner?
Let's start first with HR. No, one thing that the our team is what they call this our recipe for our success rate of hiring. No, we adopted, they call it the STAR method of interviewing, the
Mhm.
behavioral interviewing technique, wherein there are four components. No, the STAR, the situation, task, action, results. No, this is the new phase of interviewing today, Doc Ray. No, um, kumbaga, we have to remove the questions like um, what they call this, where did you know our company, why we should hire you, something like that. But the STAR method technique, actually, we can actually check, no, what's the decision making, what's the analytical skills of the employee, no, so that later on, once the applicant is hired, no, we can expect something from him or her, no, in a big perspective, no. Kumbaga, we can actually let them decide, or let's say let them what they call this execute, no, because during the interview we can we already measure the decision making and the other skills, no, in terms of behavioral. In the quality perspective, Doc Ray, the recipe that we also have this kind, um we have the recipe that we have today is to go online, as much as possible. Embrace embrace the new phase of online, no? Just like what I mentioned earlier, one of our successful project is transitioning our client satisfaction survey into QR code, or into
Mhm.
what they call this online platform, rather than preparing lots of papers. We have to collate more papers and something like that. By that, you can actually um, uh, get, no, or you can actually navigate report easily rather than encoding it manually. So for now, those are my successful projects that I'm into, to my profession, and also to my what they call this industry that I'm in. And I'm still looking forward for more projects. That's why even in the pandemic, we have this kind of, as quality individuals, no, we should not stop. No, we don't let the pandemic stop us from doing what's our what they call this our game plan, or our plan for our organization. No.
That's great. That's great, Doc JV. Especially when you mentioned that you were able to use the emerging technologies nowadays. I mean, in enabling some of your processes, and I believe that's one of
Mm-mm.
the key things that quality practitioners should be looking at these days,
Mm.
so that we can promote the less contact or less interaction, like physical interaction with um from one another, because of the a lot of restrictions because of the pandemic.
Mm.
And this one is a very good question, Doc JV, and this is one of the questions that I've thought about, that this is worth asking to someone who's into quality role. In our quality
Mm.
journey, not all projects were turned out to be successful. In those failed projects, can you share your top two learnings? So this was very, for me, this is um not really sure if this is a generic question, but I know that a lot of us really experienced failed projects. What were the two or top two learnings from some of your failed projects, Doc JV?
Particularly for the quality practice I am into, to be honest with you, Doc Ray, failure is what they call this. We must possess with what they call this with no failure of what they call this quality engagements. No, kumbaga, failure is not allowed because first thing, Doc Ray, in our organization, we are required as much as possible to have this kind of um, renewed ISO certification. That is a must. That is ASAP. No, there's no option for us. We have to ensure that the moment we renewed the moment we are on the stage of renewing the ISO certification, we have to process that. No failure is not an excuse. I guess for the human resources, um, failures, what I can recommend or what I can suggest to our viewers right now, always remember this. Always remember this: charge to experience. Charge to experience. That is always my mentality every time I have this kind of failure projects. Learn from the experience so that later on, um, you can actually craft a new project wherein much efficient, much workable, much effective, something like that, Doc. That's my recommendation to all our viewers. No, remember that charge to experience. That's the golden rule. Or what do you call this? Kumbaga, you just have to what do you call this, Doc Ray? You have to be optimistic of still what happened. Be happy still. There's no place for depression, but keep going.
All right. So, charge to experience. I mean, that's something that I can take away for today's discussion, Doc JV. Charge to
Mm,
experience, meaning we take all of the lessons learned from any of the things that
yes.
we've been through, and then we just need to keep going. We just need to be very optimistic, but we also have to be very realistic. So we need to chart out, or we need to lay out what are the specific actions that we're going to do using the lessons learned or using the learnings
Yes.
from those failed projects. That's great. This one, Doc JV, I'm also curious about this. How does quality or becoming a quality practitioner affect your life priorities? Was
Mm.
there any chance that you applied the process to your home?
I love that question, Doc Ray. Actually, all the lessons I gained from the books, from the webinars, no, from the experience as well, from the quality assurance, no. I applied those to my what do you call this, daily living, no. For example, um, just like you do the risk assessment, no. Kumbaga, the risk assessment actually helps you to somehow one way or another, you have to think of possible risk, and you as a person or as a process owner or as a quality personnel, what is your plan or what is your game plan in order for you to manage or mitigate that risk? It's like giving you an advanced thinking, not necessarily the devil's advocate, no. It's like giving you an what do you call this, giving you a advanced thinking or realization, no. And also, Doc Ray, in this time of global pandemic, there are different sort of bogus or illegal investment, no. For example, you're into it as a quality practitioner. The first thing that you have to do is to check and to monitor, or let's say to investigate how reliable that investment is. So by that, learning from the perspective of quality, you can actually adapt it even in your daily existence or your daily life, and even in your decision making. And also the 5S, no. Are you familiar, Doc Ray, with the 5S?
Very
Um,
familiar.
Very familiar. The 5S from the Japanese, no. How organized you are, how keen you are, how particular you are in the specific what do you call this, location of your home. How will you organize something? And something like that, Doctor.
Awesome, awesome. And I can see in here one of the comments from our um audience is that, like, from Marley. She mentioned 7S is an effective tool at home. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-mm.
7S or 5S. 5S is the core, right? And then we
Mm.
just expanded it to 6S,
Seven,
7S, 8S, 9S, or
7S.
whatever. How many S's
How many S?
are there right now, right? I know in the university, most of the framework, that I can see from 5S perspective is actually 7S, right? And I can also see in here from Cherry Lou, she mentioned that quality is a way of life.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, by the way, for all of our viewers. Gray, Sosito, happy anniversary, PSQ, and from Mom Arlene, San Pablo, happy 52nd year. PSQ, hello. Thank you so much, Mom Arlene, for tuning in. Hello, Doc Ray and Doc JV. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello,
So you
Ma'am
mentioned
Arlene.
that's amazing. And you mentioned earlier, Doc JV, that one of the tools that you were mentioning earlier was the risk assessment tool. Is there any other quality tools that is closest to your heart or that you really love to use? Like every now and then, it's always that, okay, I really love to use that quality tool.
Aside for the risk assessment tools, thank you for that question, Doc Ray. I love it. The PDCA analysis or the PDCA tool, the
Mm,
plan, do, act, check, because it applies in our daily lives. Even even at home, anywhere, no? This PDCA framework is one of my favorite. Aside to that, we have the SWOT analysis also. We often use in business perspective. Aside to that, the fishbone diagram or the fishbone diagram tool. And those are my favorite. Those are very close to my heart because those tools help us to identify to identify how effective our plans or our game plans, and it also help us to assess if our game plans or our, what do you call this, alternatives are very effective or very attainable or very easy to measure, something like that. Those are very close to my heart. Actually, Doc Ray, I'm teaching total quality management. Every time I discuss those framework or those tools, no, I rest assured that I cite some relevant example in the industry so that students would not be shocked, or let's say it would be easier for the student to understand what's the tool or what is the quality world that is existing, no.
that's great. That's great, Doc JV. And there's a lot of tools in there that if you keep on doing, if you keep on using those tools, those are actually those can help you reprogram your
Yes.
brain or reprogram yourself, right, into being more organized. And
Yes.
the frameworks that you can see, I mean, right here in the quality management are actually very intuitive. Like, say for instance, when we look at the PDCA plan, do, check, act, right, it's really pretty intuitive that it's like a normal way of how we should be thinking, but we're just not doing it because common sense is not common to everyone. I believe that's what
Yes.
I can say. What I can say, right?
That's
So that's
why
fun.
Doc Ray. So that's why Doc Ray, we have to, as much as possible, we have to integrate to everybody the, what they call this, the effectiveness, or let's say the how beneficial the PDCA tool to everybody, no.
Awesome, awesome. And I can also see in here one of the statements from Muhammad Iqbal. Muhammad Hussein, I think Muhammad is from Malaysia. He mentioned, "Would you like to explain Fimea?" I know that it's a long discussion when we talk about Fimea because this can be one of the courses, or this can be a long discussion for us to understand what Fimea is. But Fimea is the failure modes and effects analysis, which
Mm-mm.
is this is a systematic approach or method in evaluating a process in terms of identifying the failures of the process, how it might fail, and how to assess the relative impact of the different failures. And in order for us to identify as well the parts of the process that are most in parts of the process that we need to change. So that's pretty much is the FIMEA. Okay, and what do you think, Doc JV, are the attributes needed to become a successful quality practitioner? I know there's a lot of quality
Yeah.
practitioners who are watching us, and there's a lot of people who are aspiring to becoming a quality practitioner. So, what are those attributes that you believe are essential?
For me, Doc Ray, uh, it's very essential to have this attributes. Number one, of course, your creativity. Another also your analytical skills also in order for you to analyze, no, in especially in a particular project. Another also your communication skills, no, most especially if you're a quality manager or quality personnel, no, your communication towards your subordinates must be clear because according to Harvard Business Review article, no, if one of the reason why some best employees no left or leaving the organization, it is because of no clear communication from the head or from the top, and also not realistic, no. Another also, you're being openness, no, how you share informations for new learnings. And lastly, additional attribute is your professional competence. That's why we encourage everybody not just attending to webinars, we also encouraging everybody to participate in master classes, graduate studies, because it will helps you a lot, no. You can actually learn more theories and practices that you can apply to your current work or current role, which are very beneficial.
Thank you for that, Doc JV. Doc Aki Matias mentioned that one of the attributes for me is embracing change and motivate your people to develop a culture of collaboration. That's great, especially during this time. This is
Mm-mm.
this is so evident. Being collaborative and really open to the different
Yes.
changes that are happening these days. That's great. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing, Doc Aki. And then I also see in here, like from Rainier Casera, FIMEA is so effective on risk mitigation. Definitely, this is a risk management tool that you can take advantage. And there's a lot of templates online that you can check from FIMEA perspective. And um, from Van, how about the root cause analysis or RCA, the Ishikawa diagram or the fishbone diagram that you mentioned earlier, right, Doc JV? What or who
Yeah.
usually is the culprit? Eh, what's
The root cause analysis.
yeah, the cause of a problem or
Um,
culprit?
the culprit.
I don't know who. I mean, I don't know how to answer that question. So,
It's very hard to identify, Doc. It's very hard to pinpoint.
so we have to go through really the process of root cause analysis for us to get there.
Yes.
Who is the culprit, or I don't know.
It's very difficult to identify. That's why hands off.
Yeah, that's true. So right now we are in a pandemic situation, Doc JV, and if you were to describe that condition of businesses now, what adjective are you going to use?
I love that question, Dr. Ray. Because in the as a business administration personnel or professional, no, the adjective that I will describe is the word is disrupted. Disrupted. Allow me to share with you, Doc Ray, what's the what's the HR world, no? What's the I mean, aside to HR, the business situation, no? According to Society of Human Resources Management, no, around 71% of employers are actually struggling to remote work. I know it's very difficult to actually to embrace the remote work. Another also 65% of employers say like it's very maintaining employee is more challenging this time. Another also, Doctorate 31% have laid off, no? While 15% have already cut off or cut the headcount with no intent to rehire. That's why our fresh graduates, no, or pandemic graduates, no, are having this kind of difficulties to apply because there are many organizations, no intention for rehiring. And another also, Docre, more than one third of our employers today are facing difficulties with different components. First thing is the employee productivity. It's very hard to maintain employee productivity this time. Another also, it's very hard to implement and to observe the leave regulation. Another also, Doc Ray, I know you might be what they call this relate. It's very hard to maintain the company culture also. The company culture today is very hard to maintain. And Doc Ray, the pandemic or the coronavirus already prompted 40% of our employers to shut down. That is very sad to the business industry. 40% shut down, and certain aspects of the business, around 83% of employers, were able to adjust some of their business practices. So those are the backgrounds of the current situation of the business world today.
Great statistics. Thank you for sharing it, Doc JV. You mentioned that that word is disrupted. I know that we are all disrupted, and we just need to be very
Mm,
disruptive as well. And you know what I was thinking earlier when you were sharing Doc JV and all of these statistics. I mean, from around the globe, right? Like 40% or 31%, and all of that. So I was thinking of the previous question that I asked, that what do you think are the attributes, right, needed to become a successful quality practitioner? And I know that for me, one of the attributes would be being quantitative, being data driven. Like, say for instance, instead of you saying that, some of the people are saying blah blah blah, right? Maybe you can say like
blah blah
41%
blah.
of the people are saying like 41% or 60%. At least you know the magnitude, right? How many are
Yes.
they? At least something that's meaningful, something that maybe you can use in one of your planning sessions, right? Thank you. Thank you
Mm-mm.
for that, Doc JB. One last question. One last question that I have prepared for you for today, Doc JV. What is that advice that you can give to a neophyte, or maybe someone who just graduated from college, who wants to follow the path to becoming
Mm.
a quality practitioner?
I will just going to revive those five attributes. Of course, possess creativity, improve or let's say also your creativity, and also improve or let's say add more value to your professional competence. And I have allow me to share this recipe, Doc Reyno, or my formula. Every time I'm into project, I have this kind of formula. D plus P plus H equals success. What is
Oh,
that?
that's great.
Let me share with you. D for dedication, plus P for passion, plus heart, that is equal for success. That is my daily mantra, or that's my mantra every time I'm into a certain project. I put dedication, I put passion, I put my heart on a specific project, and you can expect all of those projects. You can actually look forward, or you can expect for a success or a successful rate. That's my secret recipe every time I'm into project.
Wow, that's that's great. I think one of the I wish I heard those specific statements from you, Doc JV, when I was in college before graduating in college. I know that those are great ideas, statements that I really wanted to hear for me to get into the quality role, because it took me like after some time before I jumped into
Mm-mm.
the quality role. There's a question in here um, from Muhammad from Malaysia. Would you like to share your experience how to create quality culture in the organization? Oh, it's a huge question, but it's a very nice question. Is there
Yes.
anything that you want to share, Doc JV? How do we establish or create that quality culture in the organization?
Um, my answer to that, first thing, you have to what do you call this? You have to present your plan. You have to after presenting that plan, um what the employee should look forward to that. It's very hard to establish, or it's very hard to establish, most especially in an organization, without presenting what is your game plan, no? So, or what are the look forwards, or what the employees can look forward to that, no? Maybe what I can suggest is that first present your plan. Why is it we have to engage, or we have to embrace this? As much as possible, let them realize the importance of the quality, or the quality management, and also let them also realize that a certain company with ISO certification is somehow one way or another beneficial to the reputation of the organization. This can somehow invest more. This can somehow invite more investors to the organization.
Thank you for that, Doc JV. I know it's a huge question when it comes to really talking about the quality culture of the organization,
Mhm.
because it needs a lot of effort, especially from the
Mhm.
top. Driving it from the top is one of the things that we can do, and maybe you can research as well, Muhammad. There is this law under the Larman's law of organizational behavior, and one of the laws in there is that he mentioned that culture follows structure. In
Mhm.
huge organizations, culture follows structure. It only means that you have to really establish that specific structure first if you are part of a
Mhm.
large organization, and then the culture will follow. But if you're part of an SME or a small to medium organization, then it's the other way around. It's the structure that follows the culture of the organization. So when I say structure, we're talking about the organizational structure, the rewards
True.
and recognition schemes or mechanism, and maybe all types of structure in the organization, and the culture will follow. Another one from Grace, Susito, not sure if they are already using it, but if only our government leaders are using QA tools effectively, we could have broken down and resolved a lot of national concerns. Yeah, absolutely. They're using it. Doc JV RTU is part of the government. It's a state
Yes.
university. There's a lot of agencies actually from the government who are, that are subscribing to the quality management tools,
Mm-mm.
especially now that we are driving the Philippine Quality Award. Of- um that's a template for organizational or performance excellence, that's equivalent to the National Baldrige National Quality Award. They're using it. It's just a matter of there's just a lot of opportunities that they need to
Mm-mm.
focus more on, and more opportunities that are in there that we just need to resolve. um from Carl Manning, good to hear quality experiences from other fields. Looking forward to the upcoming sessions, definitely. So Doc JV is coming from the educational or from the academic industry, and the next speakers will be coming from the different industries as well. So definitely, thank you so much, Doc JV, for sharing a lot of your perspectives and a lot of your experiences and your answers to the questions that I've thrown in for the past couple of minutes. And I know a lot of people have learned from what you've shared. And thank you so much from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the PS keyboard. Thank you so much. And I can maybe this is my takeaway for today. D plus P plus H successful. Thank you. Noted on this. Doc,
Thank you so
Doc
much.
J. There's actually a lot of takeaways that I can get from this session. Those are the things that you mentioned, Doc JV, that we just need to be very optimistic, but we just need to be very realistic. I know that we are
Exactly.
disrupted, but we have to think of how can we keep going, because this is not something that that's not that will not go away like tomorrow. It's still there. The situation, the pandemic situation, is not going anywhere like in the next days. And we don't know, I mean, what will happen, but it's just a matter of us really looking at this situation as an opportunity and maybe looking at it from a quality perspective. How can we do things differently? How can we become more creative? Like, say for instance, you mentioned earlier, Doc JV, that you are taking advantage of the QR codes of the emerging technologies nowadays. And I believe those are the things that are that are becoming normal, and a lot of people have
Mm,
been have been looking at these specific technologies. And for last year, right? I know that
yes.
I've seen the adoption of a lot of digital transformation related
Innovation.
initiatives, innovations, and I think that's one of the offshoots of the pandemic. So
Actually,
just
Doc
looking at the
Ray,
opportunities.
We can expect that the trajectory of some businesses today um, is to embrace online, to go beyond technology. Can expect that, no? Maybe that's my prediction. You can expect that the future of business is to go online or to get into technology na talaga.
That's so true.
From the traditional transition to into digital. We can expect that for the next coming years.
That's amazing. And at this point, Doc JV, I know that you are focusing on customer experience, customer satisfaction. And at this point, we are also going to flash in here. We are also using the QR code. So we have a QR code in here. So let me flash it on the screen, and we will give you a few seconds to scan the QR code. And please do answer the survey or the experience survey. You can also find the link of the survey in the email that we sent out. So
Mm-mm.
we'll give you like a few seconds to scan the QR code, or just go to the email that we sent out. One of the links in there is actually the participants experience survey. So we have this specific survey so that we can continuously improve as an organization, or as maybe the next time that we hold our webinars or this type of platform or this type of event, and that's something that we will be using. All of the inputs will be appreciated. And before we
Mm-mm.
end our session for today, I just want to play this. I just want to invite you to please be part of the PSQ Excellence Awards. So these are the four awards that maybe you can nominate your organizations, or maybe you have projects in your organizations, and please feel free to submit us these specific awards. But just stay tuned. Please tune in. I'll be sharing as well with you like a very special video, PSQ video, on our 52nd anniversary. But let me please play this PSQ Excellence Awards. All right, I can see in here that one of the comments is that the QR code is partially covered. So let me flash it once again. So let me see if you're seeing the QR code now. I don't know if it's working at this point. Can you see the QR code now? Okay, so instead of the QR code, so maybe we can just send you the email once again, wherein you can access that QR code. And thank you so much for tuning in for today's or for the day one of the first PSQ Quality Leaders Bootcamp. But before we end our session for today, because today is a very special day for PSQ, this is the 52nd birthday of PSQ. So happy birthday, PSQ. Let me share with you this specific video. Let me play this video. And this is a very special video that I want to share, or that we want to share from on behalf of the PSQ board. Let me share with you this video as our closing video for the day one of the first PSQ Quality Leaders Bootcamp.
For today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, the post-conference.